Boom, gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right. Boom.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Chicken Coop build series. So we're actually it's almost done. Imagine that. But there is one thing left, that's the metal flashing on the roof. Eventually we got to put some perches on the inside, that'll come in the future. And we got to block off the nesting boxes on the inside as well, so that the chicks, before they start laying, don't learn to go in there and drop their feces and everything and dirty up the nesting box. So you got to block those off while they're young, and once they start laying, then you open them up and let them go in. But that's all minor stuff, okay? That's easy peasy. The metal flashing can't go on the roof until the coop is outdoors, because I'm limited in height of the garage door and I'm already pushing the limits as it is. So if I add more bulk onto the roof, I risk not even being able to get it out of here. So for that reason, the metal flashing got to go on the roof once it's outdoors. But we do have the tar paper on there, and as of right now that should be enough to make the roof weather tight and beat off any rain. So that's all fine. So you've probably noticed by now I have these metal casters under the legs of the coop. And that's been fine in the shop for maneuvering it around and wheeling it here or there to get at different angles and sides. But when it comes to the outdoors, when you get rock and grass and dirt that the coop needs to get over in order to get to the spot on the land where it's going, they're not going to work. So that's where this video and the big move comes into play. The plan is, this chicken coop is going to be outfitted with a set of skis. Alright? Or a set of skids, whatever you want to call it. But basically, there's going to be a 4x4 pressure treated piece of wood going from the front leg to the back leg with an extension on either side. 45-degree angle for the tip of the skis. I'm going to get those bolted onto the legs using some lag bolts. A little bit more intricate than just putting it on and screwing it on. So that's the process we're going to go through right now, is making the skis. And then we should be ready to put the coop outdoors and get those attached. So that's how much detail I got for you right now as far as the move is going to go. I think you're probably getting it cranking in your head there now how this is going to go down. And that's why I mentioned last video that this could be make or break, because I don't know how this is going to react to some makeshift 4x4 skis. So stay tuned and you'll find out how this goes soon enough. But in the meantime, let's make those skis. So the first process in making these skis is I need to know what kind of length I'm dealing with for the legs, okay? So their distance apart is 90 inches. Alright, 90. And each 4x4 should be 3.5 inches in size, in depth. Alright, so what I'm planning on doing is the 4x4 is going to be going under the legs, but I'm actually going to carve out a little pocket for the leg to go down in, just so that it has, once it's mounted down in the wood, the front of the leg will kind of be bound behind a bit of wood of the ski, okay? Because there's going to have to be a tow bar between the legs to hook the tow strap onto. So I want the weight of pulling on the legs to immediately transfer down into the skis. Alright, and the tow bar will be attached to the skis and all that. So it'll be a bit of a frame in itself, okay? But I am going to be taking these legs probably about an inch down, maybe even an inch and a half down into the skis, just to get them seated down in there that much better. Alright, so with that measurement now, I know 90 inches to the outside. I want about an extra foot on either side as well for being able to ride the curves, we'll say. And just distribute that weight out over a greater space. Alright, so I think that measurement alone should be enough now. I got a 12-foot 4x4. I'm going to cut that down and then we'll go from there. Alright, and get our notches cut out. This is not too complicated. Alright, I'm just explaining it over a long period of time. Yeah, I think that's good. You might also notice that I'm not in my woodworking, attire. It's because before this gets up to the spot on the land, I need to dig away the sod and level out the land and everything. And I wanted something comfortable on for doing that kind of manual labor. So I omitted the overalls for now. I don't think we're going to be doing too much in the way of woodworking to really need them. And I'm going to be crawling around on the ground and all that good stuff. So this is as I am for the big move. Alright, so I'm going to get to cutting the 4x4 to length, and then we'll get working on those pockets. So that's one ski done. I'll go ahead and cut the other one. Now that we have the skis cut lengthwise, it's time to put the bevel for the ski tips now. So that'll keep it from bringing up in the ground hopefully, and it'll ride up over the curvatures easier. So just going with 45 because it seems like a good idea. Alright, not because I read this anywhere or anything like that. This is just my feeling on how it should be. And right there is looking good. And there we are, that's one done. Now we'll flip this over and do the other side as well. So now that we have the bevels put at the end of the skis, it's time to start making those cutouts for the legs and the tow bar. So I'm going to get both boards put down on the sawhorses here, and then we'll start getting some more measurements. Alright, so what I've done here now is I've cut both of these to a length of 114 inches. So that's the 90 inches for the span of the legs, plus 24 inches or 2 feet, so that I have 1 foot on either side for the tail end of the ski. So I'm going to come back to 102 and make a mark. Alright, so that's my 1 foot that goes past the legs. And I'll go down and I'll mark 1 foot down at the other end to mark that side for how much is going to be an overhang as well. So what I'm also going to mark is the leg for the Coop is going to be here, Alright, so that'll be 3.5 inches. And then I'm going to have the tow bar spanning across between the two skis, also slotted down into the wood. So that's another 3.5. So a total of 7 inches. So 7 off of the 102 will be 95. Now I may add an 1/8 just where I got two 4x4s that are going to be butted together. Usually you lose maybe a 1/16 or so in room unless they're perfectly flush together, okay? So I may just take an extra 1/8. That shouldn't affect anything. So this whole pocket is going to be coming out to make a spot for the leg and the tow bar to sit down inside the ski by about, I'll say, 1.5 inches. Alright, so I'm going to get my speed square, get those marked out properly, and then next step will be to take the skill saw, make multiple cuts across, and then we'll take the chisel that out, and repeat that for all the pockets. So I'll get the depth of my saw set up. So I'll haul the guard back, put the blade against where I'm cutting, release the adjustment, and I'm going to haul up on the saw until it's just at our marking. Right there. And with that done, I'll just do one test pass. And there you go, right at our marking. And now that we've pretty much made sliced bread out of this, you're going to take your hammer and start cracking. And from this point, you take your chisel and just going to tidy it up, okay? Alrighty, so that came out nice and tidy. So what I'm going to do now, I got the two ends that I cut off the skis, and I'm going to just test fit to see how they go. Alright, so you see there we got pretty much no clearance left, so that extra little 1/8 was definitely a good idea. We probably could have done with a 1/16, would have been fine. But there you have it. So the leg is going to come down like that, and then this little tow bar is going to be mounted behind that like so. Alright, so you got a tow bar now that we'll put the lashing around, the tow strap, and then you're going to tow this bar, which will be bolted down into the ski. Plus, it's going to be pushing forward onto the leg of the coupe, which is also going to be lag bolted down into the ski. And it's all going to have a good coating of glue, because what will we do without our Donkey Kong glue? So I believe that this pocket, with the force going forward of the leg on it, lag bolts down into it, tow bar pushing straight forward, beveled ski edge, I think it's pretty much going to be a good ski to get this coupe down across the land. So I'm going to continue and do these pockets, and I've got one more to do on the other ski this size, and then the ones in the back will just be one width. Alright, 3.5 inches. And yeah, so far so good. Let's keep it going. Alright, there we have it. Set of skis are made. So the only thing I need to cut now is the cross members, alright, for holding the tow bar. So I think we should be good as far as everything else goes. Legs will be down in this one just fine. tow bar across the front. All in all, looks pretty good. Now with that said, I may actually cut out the other 3.5 inches on these back ones so that I can put another stabilizer bar across, just in case we get any side movement while towing, to keep the torsion off those rear legs as well. So I think I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll come back and we should have 2 identical ends on these skis. And then I think we're just about ready to get the Coop out of here. So now that the skis are made, the next thing to measure out is the tow bar. Alright, the 2 cross supports. And they'll go to full width from leg to leg as well. And that will be about 56 3/4 inches. I'll get it right down at the bottom here to be sure. Yeah, so 56 3/4. So I'm going to cut 2 at 56 3/4. That'll be our cross members, and we'll have our ski set complete and ready to install when we go outside, okay? So I'll make those cuts on the miter saw. I don't think you really need to see those. It's pretty simple, okay? And I'll have all my 4 pieces for the skis. So I think next on the agenda after those cuts is to get this chicken coop out by the door. Alright, so, you know, things happen, and I knew they would. So during the move just then, the caster came out at the back leg, and this leg came down while it was moving. And of course this is what we ended up with. A lovely split, right from up in the leg down to the bottom. You know, good little chunk there. So we're going to do a little repair. Get some Donkey Kong glue in there, some screws, maybe a little duct tape, and piece this back together. Once the skis are on, we should have a lot more support hopefully, but we still need to maneuver it around a little more on the casters. So I'll get this, try and get this patched up. Now I'll just see if I got a small brush or something to help get in and coat this as best way possible. Alright, so as you can probably tell by now in this series, I pretty much live my life with Murphy's Law. That is, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Alright, so we got that glued up well enough. Now Now we'll see if these screws will pin it back together for us. So far so good. Put one more in for good measure. I'll get this out of the way for a second. Get our obligatory duct tape. So it's probably a good thing we gave ourselves that extra 1/8 of an inch when we made the pocket for the skis, because with this little cast on this leg, we'll probably need it. So I'm a little bit pressed for time right now, but I'm going to start trying to put on the skis, and obviously the skis are going between the legs, so I can't really put the pump or the jack between the legs or it's going to be in the way. So I'm going to try and get the front high enough, slide in the front, then go to the back and slide in the back, and hopefully by alternating back and forth that way I should be able to get them in. So let's see how that goes. I'm not sure if you caught that. Yeah, you should have. Apparently just pumping up the front was enough to get the back on as well. So she's good and solid. So let's do the other side. So I'm also going to take the opportunity while it's up in the air, get some Dikacon glue, put in under the legs as well. In order to properly secure this into the ski, I'm going to have to get some lag bolts put in here. So what I'm thinking is a lag bolt coming in this direction here and get it sink down into the base there. So I also got a longer lag bolt here, but I think that might be a bit overkill. Let's see what direction we're going, probably something like that. Yeah, I'll probably sink it in a little bit. So somewhere along that line. Alrighty. That's pretty nice and solid. And just to give you a little close-up of how it turned out. You see the washer bent in there, lots of gripping force against it. Alright, so I got 3 more of those to do. Let's get it done. Alright, so at this point in time, the skis are attached, but it's still not complete. We still got to complete the towing bars from side to side, which will also provide stability. So that's these. I cut these there earlier in the video off camera, and those are ready to go in place as well. So when we come back, we'll get these put on, get these lag bolted in as well, and the ski structure will be complete, and she'll be ready to tow. But before we tow it, we got to still do some more work while we're close to the shed. In particular, I got to do some the roofing. All right, so I want to be close to a power outlet to use the grinder. So that's just one of the few things we got to do before we take this thing and see if we can tow it. Alright, be right back. Alright, so the wind has picked up, so I don't know how much more I'll be able to chat with you guys while we're outside here. But I'm just going to work on the cross bracing and we'll get those knocked into place there now. Alright, so now the skids or skis are installed, and before we move it anywhere I'm going to finish the roof now. So let's get on to that. Alright, so there you have it. The roof is done on the chicken coop. It is ready to be towed into place. Now the only thing we need to do is prepare the site. I don't know if you can tell by the clouds right now, it's getting a bit darkened down. Wind is picking up, so we may get some rain here soon. But I will try to get some site preparation done, and then we'll be ready to tow it up into place using the truck. So we'll use the tow bars that are all cured and set by now and secure with lag bolts. So hopefully they'll be plenty strong. If anything happens along the way, we'll adapt as we always do. Alright, so with that said, gonna get these overalls off, get some gardening tools, some shovel, pick, and go mark out an area for the coop and begin taking away the sod and leveling the ground as best I can anyways. But for anyone wondering about the last bit to go on, the ridge cap, that's the Ondura. It's pretty much the only ridge cap I can find, to be honest. So, anyways, roof is done, all good. So yeah, let's go prepare the site. As you can see here, I have the desired location marked out with some orange driveway markers, and so I'm just going to start digging, see if I can get this leveled out a bit. I also want it deep enough to ideally bury the skis pretty much, so I'm looking for 3 to 4 inches in depth. So let's see how that goes. Just so y'all know, the black flies are out here and they are crazy. And the sun's beaming down. It's over 30 degrees Celsius with the Humidex. So don't expect a whole lot of productivity out of this, because this is pretty rough doing manual labor in this type of environment. But keep doing it bit by bit. Hey guys and girls, just a quick little interruption to the action to let you know that the backloader that did all the work on the septic system, if you recall that video, they're here to spread out the gravel over that area now that it's all settled. So, you know, even though you've seen me slaving away tearing up that sod, the boys are here, they got a backhoe, and I'm not letting them go until they help me with this work. Alright, so what could be a day's work for me will probably only be about 5 minutes for them. So judge me as you will. I'm going to be lazy and take advantage of this opportunity and have them finish off the resting place for the chicken coop, and that will help speed along the big move. Alright, so try to get a little bit of footage of them working on the resting place there, and then we'll get back to the big move. Alright, so that concludes site preparation. So there's only one thing left now, and that is to tow this beast up into place. So I'll get the truck in place, and then I'll show you what I'm going to try. Hopefully it'll work out. Alright, let's get ready for the big move. Alright, so to get this started, I'm going to have to put in the ball hitch and put in the pin for that. Like so. Put on your retaining clip on the other side. Alright, so let's get on to the next part. So when I first thought about doing this, I was thinking that I would just wrap the tow strap around the middle of this beam and go with it. And that would probably be fine. But I'd like a little bit more spreading of the force. So here I have a 15-foot tow strap. So we'll get that opened up. Okay, so it has two hooks, one on either end. We'll get the twists out of them. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go backwards with the strap. I'll probably do one side at a time and then even them up. But I'm going to go back around like so, and then come in under like this. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on this side. Alright, like so. I'll get the twists out and even these up. Alright, so we'll end up with both hooks out to the front like this. Now, I do have the option now that I can put these in the safety chain parts of the tow hitch, or I have an axle strap. So I'll open this up. And this is the method that I thought of doing first. Is I will put one end like that one. And one end in this one. And then I'll put the axle strap around the ball hitch. And I think that should give us a good enough setup. Alright, and that should be our towing setup. So here's the finished product of what we're going to try. Now ideally, I was thinking of wrapping this just to keep it from sliding to one side or the other, and that'll help me do a bit probably tighter turns with the Coop on the fly. So for instance, so I wrap this one over that way, don't have enough slack to do this one. Okay. Alright, so if I come back a little bit more, do that wrap as well. Or one wrap could be enough if I just do this. Alright, maybe I'll do that. Alright, maybe that would be sufficient, and that'll keep this from sliding around. And we'll be golden. So I think this will do the job. We will find out soon enough. Let's give it a try. After all the work, all the toil and trouble and sweat and tears and all these black flies around me, the chicken coop is in place. The big move is finished. So, there's really not much more to say. We'll follow up with some more videos of putting the chickens in the coop and more projects in the future. Off camera, I'll probably do a little bit of leveling and fix up the groundwork a little more, just where we towed it in. It kind of messed up the gravel a little bit. But for the most part, the big move is done. So that'll close out the final episode of this build series. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're joining late, I invite you to go back and start at the beginning and see where all this came from. But until next time, hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other, and peace out.